So this is Maya Velasquez, and we're on Out of the Reads. And the reason I asked you to come onto the show because I feel like you have a really interesting life, a really interesting story. Of course, I know you because you're Tatiana Gonzalez's mom, who is on the show for episode 5. But outside of just being her mom and just being a mom, there's so much more to you. And so I feel like you have a really interesting story and a really interesting life. And I mean, I know we started talking about the Akashic Records, so maybe we'll start with your spirituality, but have you always been a spiritual person, or did that shift for you as time went on and your life went on?
In my 40s, I have this thirst for searching
Okay.
something bigger.
Yeah.
And in that search, I got depressed.
Mm.
And I didn't know why. Until finally, I figure out that I start feeling depressed when I start thinking about job of my
Okay.
work.
Your work. Okay.
So I start making plans.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I used to tell my family, I'm going to give you guys a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty soon, I had to make a lot of plans because my income was the biggest of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I planned it and I went back to school. I remember my sister told me, there is this Kundalini yoga class that I think you will enjoy and it would help you. And she gave me a foil of antidepressants. So
Okay.
she gave both options. I
Right.
never took antidepressants, but I
Mm-hmm.
went to the Kundalini yoga class and it was dark. People were chanting. I had never been in anything like that,
Yeah.
but I felt like I was back home.
Okay. And so this was when you were in Jacksonville. So I'll give everybody kind
No,
of, no,
no,
it wasn't.
I am 63.
Okay.
I,
Okay.
I was in Puerto Rico. After that, I went to nursing school.
Okay. 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 So, so just because not everybody knows, but so outside of being Tatiana's mom, but you grew up in Puerto Rico
Mhm.
and you have one sister?
Yes.
One sister. Okay. And all of your family is still in Puerto Rico except for Tatiana, who's in Virginia Beach. Well, I
Right.
mean, your immediate family.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then so you took this Kundalini yoga class, you had this awakening, you're in Puerto Rico, and then what? What happens after that?
I kept searching.
Yeah.
In those times, it was not like now that you
Right.
just look to the internet, and there was not much. Maybe I had the bless of uh, of not having options. So my work was mostly developed by intuition
Hmm. Okay.
and finding little things. I did a lot of work in Omega Institute in New York.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was just talking on the last show with Allie about that. She's going up to Megan Watterson is having a workshop up there in August. So she's going to the Omega Institute. You're the second person I've heard in like a week about the Omega Institute. So that's a really interesting. Okay, cool.
So I did plenty with
Okay.
them. And then I, 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 I think like I did a few in Puerto Rico, like magnified healing.
Okay.
And And then I took meditation classes. I was the only one that could not meditate, and the course was almost finishing. We had one more class,
Mhm.
and everyone was talking about those beautiful views that they had, and I was running in the office. And someone told me, maybe that's the way you meditate. And at the moment that I allowed myself to meditate running in the office,
Yeah.
I got it. I got
Wow.
to meditate.
That's so cool. like you're saying, we always have this idea of we have to be like, seated, eyes closed, like you have to do the silence to be able to have the experience. But there's walking meditation, there's other ways of meditating. Painting can be a meditation, so many things. So I think that's cool that you allowed that to be your guide. Like maybe I'm different. Maybe it doesn't have to look like this for me. So this was in your 40s, right? When you started this journey. Okay. And then I know that, I know you were married before Tatiana and Tatiana's dad. How did like coming out of that marriage and coming into your current one, how was that for you? And how did that like you've obviously gone through a lot. So how was all of those challenges? How did you deal with that?
Well, it was very difficult, like every divorce, but my ex husband family became my family.
Mhm.
I remember my family saying, "You have to stop sharing time with them, otherwise, you'll never get out of that relationship."
Right, okay.
That I can. And I remember Tatiana came home one day and said she had an argument at school with her friends. And I say, why? They said, they call me a liar because I have three grandmas. They said it's
Mm,
impossible to have three grandmas. So I was lucky enough to give my kids three grandmas.
yeah,
Uh, and it was, and still today, they're part of my family.
right. Which I think is so special, like, oftentimes, like you're saying, it's like, no, you have to cut something off to make something new, but what about growing, and just expanding and allowing for more instead of, like, cutting and moving forward. So I think
And they
that's really
were so
special
good to me that there was absolutely no reason for me to do
to do
anything like
that.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
It would have not been fair to my daughter.
Of course, because yes, Fabiola, your oldest daughter, had that's from your first marriage, so that's her family as well. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And now, like, I mean, I know Tatiana, her and we've known each other for so many years, so I I I talk with her very frequently, almost every day. And I know that she has said about you that and you alluded to being a nurse, so that sounds to me like you're a caring individual. You're used to caring for so many people. And I know recently you went on a trip by yourself to Egypt. So how has it shifted for you? You're a mom of 3 and a grandmother to 2. Now coming into a role of maybe taking care of yourself more in this stage of your life after dedicating so much of your time to others.
Well, I had an awakening.
Tell us about the awakening.
That aha moment was that I had four stems in my primary artery, heart artery.
Okay.
So I kind of have a mantra now. Every time I want to get into old habits, I ask myself, who has four stems in their heart? Me.
Mhm.
So that means I'm the only one, so I'm the priority.
So, I mean, when did that happen for you? Because I know the Egypt trip was earlier this year.
Like 2 years ago,
T And you've been married to Tatiana's dad, for how long now?
38 years.
38. Wow, congratulations. I mean, not many people do that anymore, so congratulations on that.
And that's a joke on that one because I proposed to my husband.
Okay, that's a story. How did you do that? Like, "Hey, you wanna get married?"
Well, uh, I had Fabiola, and like every time I opened the door of my house, he was there. And I
Mm,
myself like not being able to do any plans without him because he was always there and
there.
not there. So I told him, you either come and visit me on the weekends
Mhm.
or you marry me because this doesn't feel right. It's like
Yeah.
in a husband and I'm not married.
Right, right, right. It's like one foot in one place and another in the other.
And when I got divorced, I always thought of getting married again. I was
Okay.
never the type of person that uh, said, I'm never going to get married again. And
Yeah.
they remarried. No, I was ready to be married. It was impossible to keep up with that relationship. But I have to say, I was even kind of jealous when
Well,
I saw couples and families sharing time.
yeah.
Uh, And I was by myself with my daughter.
Yeah.
So deep inside of me, I wanted to have a family.
Yeah.
But the best thing is that my husband told me he had to think about it.
So he wasn't like, "Yeah, sign me up. I have to think about it." Wow. Wow, he
That was
really
a Friday. That was a Friday. And on
okay.
Monday night, I was like, because I'm there, it can take forever. And and he said, well, I gotta tell you, my mother say I must be crazy, but I'm gonna marry you.
Wow, okay.
And his aunt said, uh, I don't think you're gonna be married more than a year.
So, does he have the same feeling in spirituality as you? Or
That's a good question
Mhm.
because he plays like he doesn't,
Okay.
but many times he goes with me to the workshops, and because in the last years he said, I want to travel with you.
Mhm.
And he ended up being like, well, most of these things, women's are the
Right.
ones that go.
Right.
So he becomes like the king of the workshop.
The token male.
Everyone loves him. But he plays like he doesn't do any of that. But then I hear him talking to his friends,
Mm.
like, he's stealing my words, like, I don't know that man.
Who is this guy? He sounds just like me.
Yes, I guess he is macho man. He has another uh, idea of himself, but in
Yeah.
his truth self,
Yeah.
he
Yeah, I know that obviously Tatiana has Fabiola, but she also has a younger sibling, Sage, because when I met Sage, that was Tita, little Catalina was her name at the time. So, in the fact that Sage is now transitioned, and how old is Sage now?
said it.
30. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I knew him when he was 12. Um, how has that shifted and how has that changed for you in starting out having 3 girls, and then being the parent to a child who is different from the rest and transitions and how was that for you, your husband, and your family?
Tell you that at the beginning I used to feel guilty,
Mm,
and I know I'm a part responsible for it
mm.
because everything that I wish I get. I remember
Yeah.
being pregnant and really, really wishing to have a boy.
Oh, wow.
So at the beginning, that was like,
Yeah.
uh, I think the most difficult thing for me was to face that he was different
Mhm.
as a mother. And by the way, motherhood is the most difficult thing in
I'm
the
telling
world.
you, for sure.
Every every success that I have had in my life, I had applied my experience as a mother.
Oh, yes. That's why I wanted to create this show because it's such a huge part of like shaping you into who you're going to become. Parenthood, motherhood, it's like I don't know. Like yeah, getting married is one thing, but having kids and being a mom is like a whole nother thing.
So my three kids were totally different,
Mhm.
but Tatiana and Fabiola had that started kind of leader
Mhm. Quality.
personality.
Yeah.
And I knew how to work with that.
Yeah.
Sage is pretty much like his father, and I didn't know how to raise kids like that.
Yeah.
So it took that shift. The most difficult thing was to understand how I should have deal with him because I was not able to connect. Maybe what it was something good, something that could get started my other two kids.
Mhm.
For him was intimidated.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I had to change because I could not get him to trust me. And
Yeah, that's a huge part of it, the trust piece. Yes, for sure.
everyone trusts me and they tell me everything without me asking. And then I
Yes.
have the kid where I could not talk to me.
Right,
So
right.
that was for me the hardest part. And other was not difficult because I knew it was painful because we went through a lot. But I knew I didn't know how he felt. I could
Yeah,
not imagine because I never felt uncomfortable with my body. So how could I just talk?
understand the perspective, right.
And so being totally ignorant about it
Yeah.
allowed me to be open
That's
because I knew I don't know.
I think that's a huge I love that you said that because obviously trans issues are more apparent, so knowing even about the trans community is bigger now than ever was before. But so many of us who have never felt that or never experienced that dysmorphia with our bodies, I think it's wonderful the way you're saying it of like when I accepted my ignorance of it, it allowed me to be open. Like I have no idea. Okay, so I'm here just to listen because I don't know.
I started to research
Mhm.
uh, with Sage help,
Mhm.
and I found out that there is a huge risk of suicidal in that
Yes.
community.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I say, hey, there's nothing to negotiate here.
Mhm.
I love my kids and I want him to be well and safe.
Mhm.
And I gotta do what I gotta do. Maybe that was like the what helped me most.
Was it the same for your husband?
Well, Sage was not living with us because
Okay.
he was in a boarding school.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that was when my father passed away and I moved back to Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
And maybe that could help because I did the job of
Mhm.
preparing the terrain for
Yeah.
everything. So I
Mhm.
told everyone it was not a surprise because the most difficult thing is when you see someone and it's someone else.
Yeah, for sure. The
You
like,
get all
oh,
confused.
yeah. Yeah.
So I was able to do that for him and tell people what I just told you,
Yeah.
I love my kid. I'm not going to put him in risk.
For sure. For sure.
And and this is what you got. My mother still says to me, it's so difficult for me to not say she. I told say
Yeah.
she's in anxieties. Whatever she tells you is okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
I
like
say to her, don't worry, she
yeah.
knows. He knows.
So many of us don't often hear the story from a parent's perspective of having a child who transitions. You often hear from the person themselves what they experienced, but you don't often hear from their parent how what you started with has changed or just how you feel about the whole situation. So I'm appreciative that you shared that with us.
It is, and it is very important. I went to a support group for a while.
Mhm.
It was a psychologist that specialized in trans, and he had a family group. I remember I used to tell people everything that you know, forget about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand it. When you try to understand it, when you reach an end point, like you cannot, because everything, all the ideas, preconceived ideas that you have,
Right.
this generation doesn't have them.
Yes. That's so true. That's so true. And every generation, every subsequent generation, right? Like we always attach our view onto them, but that's not their world. It's a different world than what we grew up with or, past generations. So like I think that's a really good point.
I had one concern, and it was about my son finding a partner.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I figure it's a little bit more difficult for a trans to
Sure.
find a partner than, but that's not true.
Yeah.
He is married.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
they have a very good relationship.
Mhm.
I think it's for around 7 years now.
Yeah, it's been
And my oldest daughter doesn't have a partner, and she's also happy. Not everyone is born to be a mother or a wife or.
Yes, that's right. Everybody's journey is so different. The more accepting of that, that it doesn't have to look like your own picture, but
Mhm.
it can look like theirs. If we could all adopt that way of thinking, it would just be so much easier. So, with your spiritual work, I know you do the Akashic records. Like first of all, for people who don't know, what are the Akashic records?
The Akasha records are the spiritual records for your existence. It's like a big file in the universe.
Mhm.
And the Akasha record reading is to access those records. You can ask questions, get guidance from them.
Can people read with you?
Yeah, I do that, and I do holistic hands on.
Okay.
That was something that I created because, as I told you, I work by intuition.
Right.
So, like, for example, I tried to do Reiki, and the teacher said, well, if you're going to use this method, you have to compromise to only use this method. No, I cannot do that.
Yeah, yeah.
If when I have tried to take classes, I
Mhm.
get because,
Really?
yes, you give me all these instructions of something that I just, it,
Doesn't
and
feel aligned.
years I'm working on my physical body.
Mhm.
I'm losing weight. But the spiritual world for me has been very easy.
Mhm. Mhm.
As a little girl, I remember uh, one night we had a pajama party, and I was talking to my cousin, the room was dark, and I told her, no, those lights that you see when you open your eyes in the dark. And she said, I don't see any of that. And I was like,
That's when you knew.
yes, I said, there's something strange about me.
Oh, okay, I'm different.
Maybe I should not say everything.
That comes into my head. That's so
But
wow.
it had been easy for me, and most of the things that is easy for other people is no. Like I tell my husband, we are slow people because I know I have like very slow thoughts
Mm.
in thinking.
Mhm.
But now I learn is that I grasp much more information.
Mhm.
And that's why when I was a little girl, I was very uh, quiet.
Mhm.
I'd rather be with the adults, with the mothers,
Right.
hearing their conversations and playing with the kids. As
Yes.
long as I grew up old, and I have always been a thinker.
What have you learned from all of this that you could share or that you would wanna share with someone who may have a trans child or may themselves be trans?
I gotta tell you that all of them are different, I must say. And she knows Tatiana was the most challenging one.
Yeah.
I call her my greatest teacher. I remember going to a seminar
Mhm.
because everything that I had done with Fabiola did not work with my second child.
Right.
And I always said, child, come to your life without an instruction booklet.
Yes.
So I was totally lost. And I went to this workshop, and the psychologist kept on getting dressed and using a mask, and one came after the other, and I kept on thinking, this is not my child.
Mhm.
And the next one, and the next one.
Mhm.
At the end, he had those winter hats.
Mhm.
He covered his head, and he said, this is the child that doesn't matter what you do or what you say, no attention to you. I said, finally.
Finally, now you understand. This is the kid that I have. Yes.
So I had to learn a lot. I
Yeah.
remember one day I was so angry, and I lift my arms in the anger, At that moment, I said, I either learn to deal with this kid or she's going to kill me,
Right, right, right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I was used to my first daughter. I was one of the girls. I was the mom that got permission for them to go out, that drove them everywhere.
Right, right.
I was a cool mom.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of a sudden, this daughter of mine doesn't want me not even close.
Wow.
Thank God I used the dancing
Yes, yes.
and I kept her busy because I could have never get her tired.
Right, right.
I was dying and she was all fresh.
So much energy. Yeah.
And and we have learned a lot together.
Mhm.
You would think that was that situation was the most difficult one. No, it was painful because I was lost. Lost in a sense that I could not communicate.
Right. You didn't have the
Because
words or the knowledge.
with my middle daughter, we argue, we got into arguments and stuff, but we were communicating, not in the positive way, but we were. In the youngest one, it was like I could not access. I could not
Right.
be that person to trust me
Mhm.
or even be angry at me. And that
Yeah.
was painful for me.
Yeah.
Ah, but, the other day, a friend of mine, I don't know what I was talking about, and she looked at me with this sad face and told me, "You have suffered a lot."
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I have never seen me
That way.
myself as a suffering. And it made me realize that I have always take life as it comes.
Mm.
And I remember my first boyfriend, I was really young, a
Mhm.
teenager. He left me.
Mm.
He liked man, not woman.
Okay. Okay.
I guess I can say he was gay.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to watch a lot of soap operas.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at myself in the mirror, acting, crying. And all of a sudden, I look at myself and I say, this doesn't look good. I'm going to stop this soap opera. No more of this drama for me. And I stopped crying. It was the determination. Like, I don't make time to feel sorry about the X throws at me. I deal with it because I know everything is temporary.
That's such an important sentiment that I don't know. Of course, like we said before, every generation is so different and they're presented with so many different things. But I feel like that wherewithal, the grit, the feeling of I'm going to carry on, I'm not going to let things beat me. I feel like that's such an important thing for the human spirit, for anyone. Thank you for sharing that. That was such a beautiful story. And I love how, her perspective was that you suffered, but even from your perspective, you're like, no, but why? Like this, I've just met my life where it's at and I've lived it
A lot of good has come with it.
for
I
sure.
pay my attention on difficult times because I have had a lot of happiness and joy, and I look for the joy even if I have to make fun of myself
Hmm.
because it feels so much better.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the way that you've gone through these big things, they're big. They're not everybody has what you've had or experienced what you've had. I mean, nobody experiences the same stuff, but still, like the way you've handled it is with such like grace. Again, maybe it's your spirituality or just yourself as a person, how you handle it, but it's been really amazing to watch. So that's why I really wanted you to speak on it. And thank you for doing that. Thank you for coming on the show and for talking to us about all these things. Anything that you want to say before we go?
Yes, I'm
Mm.
writing a book.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Tell us about the book.
The title is Motherhood
Mm.
because we all have a mother or have been the mother for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And my specialty is holistic stress management.
Mm-hmm.
So it is motherhood for holistic stress management. Oh, I'm done, but I'm working on it.
I think that's wonderful. I think
And
you,
it's my
yeah.
experience. how I have applied it and the experience of other people that I have worked with and they have shared. Motherhood, as I told you, is the most difficult thing.
It really is. It's not for the faint of heart. There's so much that you learn from and grow from, and it really does transcend you into a different person.
And
So
it takes work.
it
People
does.
that, this is so beautiful and so magical. And I know I have adopted human race. And that's for me the way to have compassion.
Hmm.
Like whoever is on the streets has a mother and I can feel for that mother. And I can feel like it's my son and that gives me compassion for everyone and stop judging. We are very different in my family, immediate family, and we have a very open and respectful relationship, but I take all the merit for it
Hmm. Hmm.
because I have really worked hard on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and that's what I want to share in my book.
Well, I'm super excited for whenever it comes out. Please let us know. And I will definitely plug it for you. Thank you for today. And
Thank you for inviting me.
yes, of course.